Single ship, impossible odds. The vast emptiness of space around the Zephyrian home system had never seen anything quite like it. Admiral Kethmer stood frozen on the bridge of the Imperial flagship, his 3 eyes fixed on the tactical display. That showed something impossible. A single human vessel was approaching their most heavily defended system, flying straight toward the capital world as if it owned the entire galaxy. "Sir, the readings are confirmed," reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Vexhari, her voice trembling slightly. "One ship, human designation, US Defiant. It's requesting permission to dock with the Imperial station." Kethmer's scaled fingers drummed against his command chair. The Zephyrian Empire had been at war with humanity for 3 standard years. Ever since they had captured several human research vessels in neutral space. The humans had protested, demanded the return of their people, but the Empire had laughed off their concerns. After all, what could a relatively young species do against an empire that had dominated this sector for millennia? "Get me Emperor Zik." Immediately, Kethmer ordered, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had commanded fleets for over 2 centuries. The holographic image of the Emperor materialized on the bridge within moments. Zixthor's imposing figure, nearly 3 meters tall with his ceremonial armor gleaming, looked down at the Admiral with obvious irritation. His mandibles clicked in annoyance as he spoke. "This better be important, Admiral. I was in the middle of interrogating the human prisoners. Your Majesty, we have a situation. A single human ship has entered our core system and is requesting an audience with you personally." The Emperor's compound eyes focused on the tactical display. For a moment, he simply stared at the lone dot representing the human vessel. Then, to Kethmer's surprise, he began to laugh. The sound was like grinding metal, harsh and grating. "One ship? Are you telling me that the humans have sent 1 ship to challenge the entire Zephyrian Empire? Have they lost their minds? That's what we're trying to determine, Your Majesty. The vessel appears to be a modified frigate, nothing that could threaten even our smallest escort fighters. But something about this feels wrong." Meanwhile, aboard the UES Defiant, Captain Sarah Chen sat calmly in her command chair, watching the massive alien fleet beginning to surround her ship. Her crew of 12 looked nervous, but they trusted their captain completely. Chen had earned that trust over 15 years of service, including several deep space reconnaissance missions that had taken her behind enemy lines. Captain Weir, being hailed by the Zephyrian flagship, reported her communications officer, Ensign Rodriguez. "Put them through," Chen replied, her voice steady despite the impossible odds they faced. Admiral Kethmer's alien features appeared on the main screen. His expression was a mixture of confusion and barely contained hostility. "Human vessel, you will surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Your intrusion into sovereign Zephyrian space is an act of war." Chen leaned forward slightly, her dark eyes meeting the alien's gaze without flinching. "Admiral, I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Force. I'm here under the terms of the Galactic Convention on Prisoner Exchange. I demand an immediate audience with Emperor Zixthor. You demand." Kethmer's voice rose in pitch. "You are in no position to demand anything, human. You are outnumbered 10,000 to 1. I'm aware of the tactical situation, Admiral, but I'm also aware that your Emperor has been holding human prisoners for over a year without trial or due process. That's a violation of galactic law, and I'm here to collect them." The audacity of the human captain left Kethmer speechless. For a moment, she spoke as if she had a fleet at her back, instead of being alone in the heart of enemy territory. Captain Chen, he finally managed. You will surrender your vessel, or we will destroy it. Those are your only options. I respectfully disagree, Admiral. I have a third option, one that I think Emperor Zixtal would be very interested to hear about. Deep within the Imperial Station, Dr. Elena Vasquez looked up from her cell as the guards approached. She had been a prisoner for 14 months, captured along with her research team while conducting peaceful scientific studies. The Zephyrians had been trying to extract information about human technology, but she had resisted all their attempts. Emperor wants to see you, growled one of the guards, his weapon trained on her as the cell door opened. As they escorted her through the station's corridors, Alina caught glimpses of the tactical displays. Her heart skipped a beat as she saw the familiar outline of a human ship surrounded by the massive Zephyrian fleet. More importantly, she recognized the ship's configuration. It was a Defiant-class vessel, but something was different about it. In the Imperial throne room, Emperor Zixtal sat on his massive chair, carved from a single piece of dark crystal. The chamber was designed to intimidate, with its soaring ceilings and walls covered in the weapons of conquered species. Captain Chen stood in the center, seemingly unbothered by the display of power. So, human, you wish to make demands of me? The Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. I wish to make an offer, Your Majesty. Return our people, and we'll leave your space peacefully. Refuse, and face the consequences. Consequences? Zixtal leaned forward, his voice dripping with amusement. What consequences could one ship possibly represent? Chen smiled, and for the first time, the Emperor felt a flicker of unease. There was something in her expression that spoke of knowledge he didn't possess. Your Majesty, you've been studying us for 3 years. You know our technology, our tactics, our apparent limitations. But there's one thing you don't know about humans. And what would that be? We never abandon our own, ever. The Emperor gestured to the tactical display showing his fleet. Your dedication is admirable, but misguided. My fleet consists of over 8,000 vessels. I have weapons that can crack moons and shields that can withstand stellar radiation. What can one ship do against that? You're asking the wrong question, Your Majesty. The question isn't what one ship can do. The question is what one ship can call. For the first time, genuine concern crept into the Emperor's voice. What do you mean? Chen activated a device on her wrist, and a holographic display appeared showing the Defiant's position relative to the Zephyrian fleet. My ship isn't here to fight you, Your Majesty. It's here to mark you. Mark us for what? For targeting, you see. The Defiant isn't just a ship. It's a beacon. Every human vessel in this sector of the galaxy has been tracking our signal, waiting for us to reach our destination. Admiral Kethmer's voice crackled through the communication system. Your Majesty, our long-range sensors are detecting gravitational anomalies at the edge of the system. Multiple signatures approaching at high velocity. Chun's smile widened. I gave you 24 hours to release our people. That deadline expired 18 minutes ago. The Emperor's compound eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Even if your people are coming, they can't possibly match our fleet strength. Perhaps not in raw numbers, Your Majesty. But you've made one critical error in your assessment of humanity, which is you've been fighting us like we're just another alien species. But we're not. We're survivors. We've been fighting each other for millennia, perfecting the art of war in ways your peaceful empire never had to. Every conflict, every battle, every hard-won victory has taught us something new about warfare. The tactical display updated, showing the approaching human fleet. Even from this distance, It was clear that the human formation was unlike anything the Zephyrians had encountered. The ships moved in perfect coordination. Their approach vectors calculated for maximum tactical advantage. Dr. Vasquez, who had been listening from her position near the throne, finally spoke. "That's not just any ship out there, Your Majesty. That's the Defiant. Captain Chen's ship was part of the Deep Strike program. It's equipped with quantum entanglement communicators that can't be jammed or intercepted." "Silence," roared the Emperor, but his voice had lost its earlier confidence. Chen nodded approvingly at the doctor. "Dr. Vasquez is correct. My ship has been in constant communication with Earth Command since we entered your system. Every conversation, every tactical display, every detail of your fleet composition has been transmitted in real time." "Impossible," whispered Admiral Kethma. "Our scanning systems would have detected any communication array." "Would they?" Chen asked. "Your technology is impressive, but it's based on conventional physics. Quantum entanglement operates on principles that transcend normal space-time limitations. By the time you detect our communications, the information has already been received and acted upon." The Emperor rose from his throne, his massive form towering over the human captain. "Even if this is true, my fleet still outnumbers yours significantly. We will destroy your ships as they arrive." "You could try," Chen agreed, "but you'd be making another mistake. You see, we didn't come here to fight a conventional battle. We came here to end this war permanently." "What are you talking about? Your Majesty, your empire has existed for millennia because you've never faced a species that could match your technological superiority. You've conquered through overwhelming force, never needing to develop true tactical innovation. But humanity has faced extinction dozens of times in our history. We've learned to win against impossible odds." The throne room's communication system suddenly activated, displaying a message from the approaching human fleet. The voice belonged to Admiral Jackson Pierce, commander of the Human Defense Fleet. "Emperor Zixthal, this is Admiral Pierce of the United Earth Space Force. You are surrounded. Your fleet is outmaneuvered. Your tactical positions are compromised, and your escape routes are sealed. Surrender now, and your people will be treated with honor." The Emperor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "Surrounded, Admiral, report." Kethma's voice was strained as he responded. "Your Majesty, the human fleet has emerged from hyperspace in multiple locations. They're not approaching from a single vector, as our sensors indicated. They're already in position around our entire formation." "How is that possible?" Chen stepped forward. "Because, while you were watching one ship, we were positioning an entire fleet using stealth technology you didn't know existed. Every moment you spent analyzing the Defiant, more human ships were taking position throughout your system. The tactical display updated again, showing the true scope of the human fleet. They had indeed surrounded the Zephyrian formation, but, more than that, they had positioned themselves to cut off any retreat. The human ships were smaller than their alien counterparts, but their positioning was flawless." "This is impossible," the Emperor breathed. "Our sensors should have detected them." "Should have," Chen agreed. "But you've been looking for the wrong signatures. Human stealth technology doesn't just hide our ships from sensors, it makes them appear to be something else entirely. Those asteroids your ships have been avoiding, half of them are actually human vessels." Dr. Vasquez looked up at the display with admiration. "Brilliant. You used the system's asteroid field as camouflage. How long have you been in position?" 3 days, Chen replied. "We've been watching your fleet movements, studying your tactics." waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. The Emperor's voice was now barely above a whisper. "What do you want?" "I told you at the beginning, Your Majesty. We want our people back. All of them. And we want assurance that this kind of unprovoked aggression will never happen again. And if I refuse—" Chun's expression hardened. "Then you'll discover what happens when humanity stops playing by the rules of civilized warfare. We didn't come here to conquer your empire, Your Majesty. We came here to demonstrate that attacking humanity has consequences." The communication system crackled again, this time with a message from one of the Zephyrian fleet commanders. "Your Majesty, the human ships are powering up weapon systems. Their targeting arrays are locked onto our primary vessels. You have 1 hour to decide." "Your Majesty," Chen said quietly. After that, this conversation becomes academic, as the Emperor stared at the tactical display, watching his supposedly invincible fleet being systematically outmaneuvered by a force he had grossly underestimated. One thought echoed in his mind. What had his empire awakened? When humanity answers the call, the hour passed with agonizing slowness aboard the Imperial station. Emperor Zixtal sat motionless on his throne, his compound eyes fixed on the tactical display that showed the human fleet maintaining their perfect encirclement. His advisors whispered among themselves, calculating odds and discussing options that seemed to dwindle with each passing minute. Admiral Kethma stood at attention beside the throne, his 3 eyes darting between the Emperor and the tactical readouts. The human fleet had not moved from their positions, but every Zephyrian commander could feel the weight of their targeting systems, locked onto critical points throughout the Imperial formation. "Status report," the Emperor commanded, his voice lacking its earlier arrogance. "Your Majesty," Kethma began reluctantly, "our tactical analysis confirms the human claims. They have achieved complete tactical superiority. Our escape routes are sealed, our supply lines are cut, and our defensive formations have been compromised." How did they do it? The Emperor's mandibles clicked in frustrated confusion. How did they hide an entire fleet from our sensors? "Captain," Chen, who had remained standing calmly in the center of the throne room throughout the hour, finally spoke. "Your Majesty, your empire has grown complacent. For centuries, you've relied on technological superiority to overwhelm your enemies. But technology is only as good as the tactics used to deploy it. Explain. Your sensors are designed to detect large energy signatures, metallic compositions, and conventional propulsion systems. But human ships have been modified with adaptive camouflage technology. We don't just hide from your sensors. We make our ships appear to be natural phenomena." Dr. Vasquez, who had been quietly observing the proceedings, added, "The quantum entanglement communicators Captain Chen mentioned aren't just for communication. They're also used for coordination. Each human ship can instantly share tactical data with every other ship in the fleet, creating a unified response system." The Emperor turned his attention to the captured scientist. "You seem to know a great deal about human military capabilities, Doctor." "I should," she replied with a slight smile. "I helped design some of these systems before I was captured. The Zephyrian Empire made a critical error when they decided to hold human prisoners. You gave us time to study your technology, your tactics, and your weaknesses." "Weaknesses?" The Emperor's voice rose dangerously. "The Zephyrian Empire has no weaknesses." "With respect, Your Majesty, you have one major weakness," Chen interrupted. "You've never faced an enemy that could adapt faster than you could respond. Human military doctrine is based on flexibility, innovation, and the ability to turn disadvantages into advantages. The communication system activated again, displaying Admiral Pierce's stern features. Emperor Zixtal, the deadline has passed. What is your decision? The Emperor looked around the throne room, seeing doubt in the faces of his advisors. For the first time in his reign, the tactical display showed his fleet still outnumbered the human force, but the positioning was impossible to overcome without massive casualties. Admiral Pierce, the Emperor said slowly, what assurance do I have that you will honor any agreement we make? The same assurance you gave our people when you captured them, Pierce replied coldly. None, except for the consequences of betrayal. And those consequences would be... Your Majesty, Chen interjected, humanity has a saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you betray an agreement now, there will be no negotiation next time. There will only be war. The Emperor's advisors began whispering more urgently among themselves. The prospect of a prolonged conflict with a species that had demonstrated such tactical superiority was not appealing. Your Majesty, Admiral Kethma, said quietly, our intelligence reports suggest that this human fleet represents only a fraction of their total military capacity. If we escalate this conflict, we could face a full-scale war with an enemy we clearly underestimated. Underestimated? The Emperor's voice was barely controlled fury. They sent one ship, which was exactly the point, Chen said calmly. We wanted to demonstrate that humanity doesn't need overwhelming force to achieve our objectives. We need only the right application of force at the right time. You're threatening the entire Zephyrian Empire with a single fleet. No, Your Majesty, we're offering you a choice. Return our people and agree to respect human sovereignty, or discover what happens when humanity stops exercising restraint. The tactical display suddenly updated with new information. Long-range sensors had detected additional gravitational anomalies approaching the system from multiple directions. The human fleet was being reinforced. How many ships are you bringing? The Emperor asked, his voice now showing genuine fear. As many as necessary, Admiral Pierce replied through the communication system. Humanity has learned an important lesson from this conflict, Your Majesty. We will never again allow our people to be held prisoner by a hostile force. Every human ship in this sector of the galaxy is converging on your position. Dr. Vasquez looked at the display with professional interest. The approaching signatures suggest at least 6 additional battle groups. That would bring the total human force to over 3,000 vessels. 3,000. The Emperor's composure finally cracked. Our intelligence estimates suggested that humanity possessed fewer than 1,000 military vessels total. Your intelligence was wrong, Chen replied. What your spies observed were our patrol and exploration fleets. Our military shipyards have been operating at full capacity since the moment you captured our people. Every month you held them prisoner. We built more ships and trained more crews. This is impossible. No species can expand their military capacity that quickly. Most species can't, Chen agreed. But most species don't have humanity's manufacturing capabilities. We've been building starships for less than 2 centuries, but we've been perfecting mass production techniques for much longer. The Emperor looked at Admiral Kethma, seeking some tactical solution to their predicament. The Admiral's expression was grim as he reviewed the latest sensor data. Your Majesty, the human fleet formations are textbook perfect. They've achieved tactical superiority through superior positioning and coordination. Even if we could break through their encirclement, the cost would be devastating. And if we surrender, then we hope that humanity is more merciful than we have been. The communication system activated once more, But this time, it was not Admiral Pierce. Instead, a new voice joined the conversation: Admiral Sarah Mitchell, commander of the approaching reinforcement fleet. Emperor Zix Thor. This is Admiral Mitchell of the 2nd Human Defense Fleet. I'm transmitting the complete list of human prisoners currently held in Zephyrian facilities. We want every single one of them returned, unharmed, within the next 6 hours. The holographic display showed a list of over 200 names, including detailed information about each prisoner's capture date, location, and current condition. The precision of the intelligence was staggering. "How do you have this information?" the Emperor demanded. "Because," Chen said quietly, "we've been monitoring your communications since the day you captured our first ship. Every prisoner transport, every interrogation session, every detail of your prison system has been recorded and analyzed." "That's impossible. Our communications are encrypted with quantum algorithms." "Were encrypted," Dr. Vasquez corrected. "One of the advantages of being held prisoner for 14 months is that you have time to study your captor's technology. I've been working on breaking your encryption from inside the prison cell." The Emperor's mandibles clicked rapidly as he processed this information. "You mean to tell me that you've been planning this rescue operation for over a year?" "We've been planning it since the moment the first human was captured," Chen replied. "Every day you held our people prisoner, we gathered intelligence, built ships, and prepared for this moment." "The single-ship approach," Admiral Kethmer said suddenly, understanding flooding his features. "It was never about negotiation. It was about positioning and final intelligence gathering." "Partly correct," Chen acknowledged. "But it was also about giving you a choice. We could have simply attacked without warning, but humanity prefers to offer alternatives to warfare when possible. And now you've seen our capabilities. You understand that humanity is not a species to be underestimated or threatened. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?" The Emperor stood slowly, his massive form casting long shadows across the throne room. For the first time since ascending to power, he faced a decision that could determine the fate of his entire empire. "Admiral Pierce," he said finally, "I want to speak with your Commander-in-Chief. I want to speak with whoever has the authority to make binding agreements for humanity." "Your Majesty," Pierce replied, "I have that authority. Humanity doesn't operate under the same hierarchical system as your empire. Every human commander has the training and authority to make tactical and strategic decisions. That's impossible. No military can function without centralized command." "Your military can't," Chen corrected. "But human military doctrine is based on distributed command structures. Every ship captain, every squadron leader, every individual soldier is trained to make independent decisions that support the overall mission, and your overall mission is to bring our people home," Chen said simply, "and to ensure that no human is ever held prisoner by a hostile force again." The tactical display updated once more, showing the arrival of the 2nd Defense Fleet. The human forces now outnumbered the Zephyrian fleet, and their positioning had become even more advantageous. "Your Majesty," Admiral Kethmer said urgently, "we must make a decision. The longer we delay, the worse our tactical position becomes." The Emperor looked around the throne room one final time, seeing the faces of his advisors, the determination in Captain Chen's eyes, and the quiet confidence of Dr. Vasquez. He had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for over 4 decades, leading it to unprecedented expansion and prosperity. Now, faced with a species that had demonstrated capabilities he had never imagined, he faced the hardest decision of his reign. "Admiral Pierce," he said finally, "I accept your terms. All human prisoners will be released within 6 hours. The Zephyrian Empire formally recognizes human sovereignty and agrees to respect your territorial boundaries. And in return," Pierce asked, "in return, we hope that humanity will remember that the Zephyrian Empire is capable of learning from its mistakes." Chen stepped forward. "Your Majesty, humanity doesn't seek conquest or domination. We seek only to protect our people and live in peace. Honor this agreement, and you'll find that humans can be valuable allies. And if we violate it, then you'll discover why the rest of the galaxy is beginning to refer to humanity as the sleeping giant." As the Emperor gave the orders for the immediate release of all human prisoners, Captain Chen felt a sense of satisfaction that had nothing to do with military victory. She had accomplished her mission without firing a single shot, demonstrating that humanity's greatest weapon was not technology or firepower, but the absolute refusal to abandon their own. The rescue operation proceeded flawlessly. Dr. Vasquez and her fellow prisoners were transported to the human fleet within hours, and the Zephyrian Empire began the process of establishing formal diplomatic relations with humanity as the human fleet prepared to return to their home systems. Emperor Zixtal stood alone in his throne room, contemplating the lessons of the day. He had learned that in the vast galaxy there were still species capable of surprising even the most advanced civilizations. More importantly, he had learned that humanity was not a species to be underestimated, threatened, or ignored. The galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. Asterisk.